Oh yeah. What is going on, Haunt Nation? I am Ant, and haunt season has officially started. First haunt of the season is open, or was open, last weekend, so I'm very, very excited. Been waiting, just like the rest of you, 10-ish months for this day to come, and it is here. In case you're wondering, I am smoking a Betty by, I think, is from the Deadwood Cigar Company. Not really much of a fan, but I bought it. I'm going to smoke it. It's kind of sweet, cloyingly sweet. I don't like flavored cigars. Didn't know that it was flavored, but now I know. Not my favorite. Drinking a Point beer, my absolute favorite beer from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. But we are not here to talk about cigars or beer. We are here to talk about haunts. What haunt? We are talking about Field of Screams, which is in Mountville, Pennsylvania. Earliest opening of the year, September 9th, I believe it opened, 8th or 9th, Friday and Saturday. They're only open Friday, Saturday for the next few weeks, then I believe they go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Kind of in the middle of the state, not too far away from Jason's Woods, which, God help me, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back there, and really not too far away from Shocktoberfest, which is in Sinking Spring. So somewhere in the middle of Pennsylvania, roughly, closer to the Reading area. All right, here we go. So, parking is there, it's abundant, and it is free. You know I hate paid parking. I really, really hate paid parking, but parking is free. Standard, haunt parking, kind of like in the middle of a field, people guiding in, that kind of thing. For bathrooms, there are porta potties. I went a couple times. One was not so clean, one was pretty clean. So not so clean isn't great for the beginning of the season, but, people are animals. Fucking savage. So I don't necessarily blame the haunt for that one. I mean, shouldn't be like that second day in, but people are fucking disgusting. Ticketing. So ticketing is, I think you can buy tickets there. They always threaten online that they could be sold out, but I don't know that they ever actually do sell out. They want you to buy tickets for a time slot. Last ticket sold for whatever time. You have to be there, I guess, by that time. There are no physical tickets anymore. Last time I was there were physical tickets. Now they have a QR code on the phone. As you go to each individual haunt, which there are 4 of, they scan for that particular haunt, and you're good to go. Last time I was there a couple of years ago, it was physical tickets. You bring your QR code to the ticket booth. They would scan it, give you a physical ticket, and then they would hole punch the physical ticket as you went to the different things to make sure you didn't, go around and around and around. So, different from some of them, because there's an entrance. They have a shop, they have games, they have a couple of escape rooms, they have the axe throwing, they have a lot of food. Mostly, like state fair type food, hamburgers, hot dogs, cheesesteaks, but they had like barbecue, pizza, they had a lot of food, funnel cakes, they had an abundance of different things to eat. Not too badly priced. The barbecue was a bit expensive, but you're getting barbecue brisket or barbecue pork, so I mean, I didn't try it, but if it is what it says it is, I would expect it to not be cheap. Barbecue's never cheap. Other food wasn't badly priced. They also, I believe this year, first time, they have a bar there. So, separate section, you get ID'd, you get a wristband, you can go in, they have like beer, cider, soda water. They also have a thing called a blood bag, which I didn't realize. I bought a beer. Blood bag is like a vodka drink. I'm guessing it was red. They were sold out anyway. When I went that night, I guess they had a larger than expected crowd of people that actually wanted to try it. But, I did talk to some of the young ladies at the bar, and they said that it was indeed like a vodka drink, and they make their own vodka, so it's their vodka, which is, kind of cool. I would have tried it, would have loved to have tried it, but they didn't have it. Also, don't be a cheap prick. If you're buying beer, I mean, I don't normally tip like food vendors and food trucks, which is kind of what they have, but it is a bar. Throw the girls a couple bucks, if they're pouring you beers or whatnot. Everybody was very nice, by the way. Have to stay in that area if you're going to be drinking. Can't go out, but one of the food trucks is situated so that you could actually buy food from the back window of the food truck and eat it there. Now, full disclosure, it was a press night. I did not know this. I did not get invited. We may have been invited. I did not see an invite anywhere. Did not go because it was a press night. Just happened to be the night I was available to go, and I went. Bought my ticket, as I always do, as we always do on this channel, through the regular routes. Don't wear any identifying things. Just dress like a normal dude. And I don't normally think that anyone's going to recognize me, and we go through the haunts as normal people, as normal patrons, just like everybody else that's watching this. I happen to know it was press night because I saw a few people with press badges, and I met a dude there, a very nice guy, who told me it was a press night, and he was invited, or his group was invited, so we had a little bit of a chat. It was pretty cool. But other than that, I don't think anyone from the haunt recognized me. I'm pretty sure they didn't. Like I said, just a dude by myself. By myself, if you can see there's nobody else here, that's because I want to get these reviews to you in a timely manner, and sometimes having to wait for my buddy T, especially if he doesn't go to the haunt, by the time we actually get the video shot and out to you, season's already over. I don't think that's really like the ideal way to use the channel. So when he's here, if we go to the haunt together, we'll probably film them that night. But other than that, so yeah, Field of Screams. You walk in and it's just a big paving stone, almost like a carnival type atmosphere. You can walk anywhere, go to all the shops. They have a shop with t-shirts and all sorts of kind of haunt related stuff that you may want to purchase. Food, there's a stage with a band most nights, live band. There was a live band there playing mostly cover tunes when I was there. And then you have your individual haunts. There's no designated way to go to the haunts. You can go any way you want. I know in years past they used to recommend, especially as the night got later, that you do the Hayride first, this, second, that, third, because they would start shutting them down in a particular order. I went fairly early. Everything was open. It wasn't a busy night. It was actually good. Hayride, they added at least one extra part to the Hayride. Not my favorite format for the Hayride. It's you get on the Hayride. It's a fully enclosed, which is fine. You get on the Hayride and they go and they stop in individual places. Usually it's some kind of an enclosure. Sometimes it's outside. And then you experience whatever the theme of that enclosure or outside space is, and you move on to the next. In between, a lot of dead space. They did have some animatronics going in between, but no real interaction with live actors or anything like you would get at, say, Headless Horseman Hayride in Ulster Park. It's just kind of, you're on the Hayride, you experience a thing. Sometimes the actors from that section will stay on and ride it a little bit, to the next area, harassing the people, which is always fun. But for the most part, nothing going on. A couple of animatronics, but nothing really going on. Only downside I noticed to the Hayride was that some of the shutters, the back door mostly, didn't close on a few of the areas. Whether that was done intentionally or not, I don't know. But kind of breaks the immersion a little bit, especially if you're supposed to be in a scene, but the actors were all on point, man. They did their job. All the scenes seemed like they had an appropriate amount of actors, except for one. One scene only had 2 actors on it, which I thought was a little sparse, but it is what it is. And really cool. It's a good Hayride. It's not a bad Hayride by any means. It's actually a very good Hayride for what it is. Again, some of the animatronics didn't seem to be working perfectly, but things get old, things get broken. Did the Nocturnal Wasteland, which is their post-apocalyptic woods walk. I didn't notice too much different. Mind you, it's been a few years, so I'm not going to have a perfect memory. But it's a really cool, people built up a post-apocalyptic enclosure after, an end-of-the-world scenario. Personally, I think it'd be cooler if it had more of like a zombie theme, but I know the zombie theme is so overplayed, so I really don't gripe at anybody for not doing that. It's mostly, you're in a post-apocalyptic wasteland and pretty much everybody in there wants to eat you because you're, food. Not because they're zombies, just because, you're food and there's not much food. Have a sip of my beer because I am solo and I am talking. Again, adequate amount of actors. All the actors were into it. It was really good. It was a really good experience. I actually got to go through that all by myself, just on happenstance. By the time I got to it, it was empty. There was a group of, a couple people in a different queue that were going through when I walked in. I walked in. I was alone. Nobody walked in after me. I got to go through on my own, which was really cool. Got to experience that solo. So they have those two. They have the Hayride, the Nocturnal Wasteland, which is that woods walk. And then they have two houses. They have the Asylum. I don't remember what the name of the Asylum is. And then they have the Den of Darkness. Both are full enclosures, like full buildings, which I really have to say I appreciate as a haunt. I like walking up to a haunt and seeing an actual building, and the building is the haunt. I know a lot of haunts do, their stuff in warehouses or whatever. And once you get downstairs, if the immersion is good, that's great. But there is something to walking up to a building and walking into that building and that structure actually being a haunt. It's a really cool little extra thing. So they have two buildings, the Asylum and the Den of Darkness. The Asylum obviously is an insane asylum run by crazy doctors that are abusing, murdering their patients. And the Den of Darkness has a kind of, I don't know, almost like you're walking into like maybe a haunted house. I don't really know how to describe that one, but both houses are absolutely beautiful. The actors and actresses were into it. They were doing their jobs. They were on point. Like everything was just running really, really well. The houses themselves are beautiful. The scenery is great. The immersion is fantastic. The costuming was on point. The makeup in the houses was great. Like, I have literally no complaint about either of the houses. And one of my biggest gripes, especially with Fielder Screams, is they have like cattle type pens that they put the patrons in to send them through. They have them at both houses and at the Nocturnal Wasteland. For the houses, there were plenty of people there. There was a line of people there. They were actually only filling the pens with like 4 or 5 people at a time. I was solo, and I got put with like a group of 4 and a group of 3, I think. I guess if you were together in a group of 6, because I saw a group of like 6 or 7 together, but they seemed like they were all together. They went together, but they were actually limiting the amount of people being pushed through, which was a real sticking point for me at that particular haunt and a lot of other haunts in years past. They would put 10 plus people in a pen and send you through in a line. They were keeping about 30 seconds between group spacing, definitely less than a minute. I think it was about 30. I didn't actually time it, but I was kind of keeping a mental note while I was online and going through. 30 seconds is reasonable. It could be more. I prefer it if it's more, but for the most part, really only caught up to one group in one of the other houses, and they were in the Den of Darkness, and they were walking super slow. And then I lost the group I was with. So basically I just went from one group to another. I don't walk fast. We take our time. We look around. We like to look at the scenery, the animatronics. Only gripe I have about, I think it was the Den of Darkness, they had like one of those cool walls with all the skulls, and some of them were at some point animated. They were, they would look or move their heads or whatever, and a lot of them were just broken. Definitely, I'm not going to say definitely, but most likely did not happen on the opening night or midway through the second night of opening. I'm going to say it's probably like that. It's unfortunate. It would have been a really cool thing to see the skulls on the wall moving or looking or doing whatever they're doing, but broken. Again, partially blame the haunt. If it's old, they didn't fix it, but people are animals. People feel the need to touch things, punch things, smack things, pull on things. I understand that there's only so much damage you can mitigate. If I happen to go back next year and see the same damage, then I'll make an issue of it, and I'll tell you guys, they're obviously not fixing shit that's obviously broken. But that said, I don't know. So I'm very happy with the lines and the spacing. This is why I told you at the beginning, though, that it is a press night. I wasn't part of the press, so I didn't wear a press badge. I had nothing identifying on me. Got no free ticket. I paid for my own ticket, like I always do, like we always do. I think it's important to go in as a patron and not as somebody who's going to get the absolute best experience, to go in just like everybody else, because I want to know what experience you're getting, because that's the experience I've been getting for years, right? It's really easy to say, oh, it's the best haunt in America, when, you know, you're the only person going through it and all the actors are doing their absolute best for you, you know, and then the rest of the people for the night, they, you know, they don't give a shit. Again, opening weekend, last weekend, you know, I say this over and over, I expect the same performance, you know, like you would at a restaurant. You don't expect the first meal of the day to suck or the last meal of the day to suck. You expect consistency. You expect, you know, if you're the first patron there or the last patron on the way out, you expect a good meal. Same thing with a haunt, man. I expect, you know, a level of excellence, especially when some of these places are charging significant amounts of money. But that said, you know, the houses were great. The costuming was great. The costuming on the Hayride and on the Woods Walk, there was a lot of rubber mask kind of stuff going on. However, they were adequately dark that it really didn't make a difference. If you're looking, you can see it. Most people aren't going to be looking. Most people aren't going to notice that it's rubber masks and, you know, not the best costumes, because it's dark, dark, dark. It's dark in the woods and it's dark on the Hayride, especially when you're enclosed in a place. Lots of chainsaws, you know, that's a thing always. Some of the typical tropes, but overall, everybody had a fucking great time. Really, really good this year. I'm going to go right ahead and I'm going to say Field of Screams this year, 8.5 for me. I was alone, so that's the only one you're going to get. And that's pretty much where we're at, you know. Just a really good haunt this year. They did a really great job. You know, if they keep this standard up, and it's not just because it was a press night, if this is the way it is through the whole season, and if this is the way they are next year as well, I mean, it'll definitely move up to one of the top haunts. 8.5, you know, on this channel is a great rating. You know, we don't pull punches. You know, we don't kiss anybody's ass. If you got a fucking shit haunt, we're going to tell you. Anyway, would absolutely love to hear your opinions. If you guys go, you have a different experience, the same, better experience, let us know. Drop something in the comments on the channel. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, Field of Screams for the 2023 haunt season gets an 8.5 from me. And until the next one.